All right. Oh, well, you only need to learn those little technical issues once. I'll just wait for everyone to come on. Oh, wow. What a trip. Welcome, everyone. So, it's about to go down soon. Anyway, I'm just getting ready for it, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to point out, and I'm really sorry for all of that terrible background noise before. It must have been really frustrating, so I'm going to do a little lap before I head back. Because it's good chatting to you in the car. I get a little bit of a chance to think. Hey, Chris. Legend, bro. So, Chris, there's an Australian Public Service Review which touches all aspects of the Australian Public Service. And I was just wanting to point out, like, it hasn't been put in the mainstream yet, this Australian Public Service Review, which apparently is an independent review, and you'll find the link where you can put submissions about how you, in Australia, and this is just for Australians, or people who have lived in Australia. I know there's a lot of people that have been treated really shit by the Australian Public Service, and that's people who are a bit, you know, think they're special, they get a bit of power, and they don't really have the educational background or knowledge to do their job effectively for the Australian people. Or they're so compromised by their superiors or the, you know, the international banking syndicate hegemony of elitist sadomasochists, that they know that they're bent, the system's broken, and they can't actually do their job effectively even if they tried, because we are treated as second-rate citizens by our government. And that can be seen in a plethora of cases where the system, particularly social services, has let down mums and dads and children across Australia. And that's what I'm specifically talking about here in regards to anyone who has talked to a government, you know, person. They've wanted to make a complaint. It might have been to an ombudsman. It might have been to, you know, education minister in relationship to safe schools. Any problem you've had where you've been let down by the system, this is your chance to be as thorough as possible. And I would suggest in a affidavit that's a sworn affidavit structure, and write it in a sworn affidavit, paragraph for paragraph type of structure, and you know, have your chance to have your say essentially at the end of the day. So that's what I'll be doing with my issue. That's what I was saying when the sound was really bad because of my air conditioner blowing on the new camera mount, which I've now got sorted, thankfully. Yeah, so good things are happening, guys, because of me buckling the system and having ASIO agree to me and basically telling the Governor-General's office in a hard copy fax to surrender. I know some of the civil service people probably think I'm crazy, but in terms of an actual theorem of Commonwealth law, I believe I'm absolutely, dare I say, exemplary and strategically absolute to the letter, accurate in regards to the case I've put forward against the Australian Commonwealth Government. Now, one of the issues is that these people that they put at the gate, you know, at the moat, all the little soldiers and the gatekeepers and the minions, actually don't have the intellectual capacity or comprehension or study or years of study to even understand what the fuck I'm doing. So they, and by now of being ignored for so long on these issues, these campaign and political and lawful issues in Australia, I'm actually pretty fucked off with their idiocy. And so when they just give me a bit of stick, I'm frustrated. You know, they've taken my son, among other things, and they've killed people in Syria with our taxpayer dollars for a war for Genie Oil and Gas to propagate a mass exodus from the Middle East into Western countries as part of their major strategic military play. So forgive me if I'm not licking these people's asses when I make a phone call to them. And sometimes when they're just being so ignorant and absolutely intellectually retarded and breaking their own laws, I've been pretty rude and obnoxious. And I believe I have the legal right and girth to be obnoxious when they're, when polite doesn't work, unfortunately. And that's just called being Australian and having some balls. Unfortunately, this system has really tried to get men by the balls so that they don't speak out. I mean, look what's happened to Tommy Robinson. So that's where I laid down the gauntlet to the Australian intelligence agencies and the CIA first, saying, all right, motherfuckers, you've got a problem with what I'm saying. Come at me, come after me. And I've laid that gauntlet now to everywhere from the local cops all the way up to our domestic intelligence and foreign intelligence agencies and the Governor-General. And it has gone in this country as high as the Governor-General. It has gone to the CIA. And various levels of the State Department in Washington, and it has gone out in a diplomatic channel as well, as per protocol of the work that I do internationally. So that's it from me. In a nutshell, this was all about, and I'll show you how I've done that later too. So anyone who wants to tune in, what I've made a point of doing is not hiding or not being sneaky about it, is actually showing people how I've done what I've done. Because A, it's about, showing a little bit of respect to you guys, that there needs to be details that I fill you in with, as opposed to you guys just taking my say-so or my word for it. So in live streams to come, I'm going to be doing, obviously, an overview of the documents and what they mean and how they all work together, and writs that I've issued, that are legal writs that have been tendered lawfully, I might add, even though they're shitting themselves about how they've been tendered. They have been tendered lawfully. And if anyone wants to make a real say, and look, at the end of the day, everyone asks me, what do I do? How do I do something? I believe at the moment this is the best medium, this is the best channel of communication that the government is providing, where you can give your feedback. I'm not saying it will change everything, absolutely. I don't have enough oversight on the review, and I don't have enough oversight of the independent experts that are doing the review. That I do know that's on their website, but I'm yet to conduct due diligence on their business profiles and personalities, and their arm's length distance to the Australian government and their financial interests, and those arm's length distance of their financial interests to the Australian government, various members of the Australian government. So that's important too. But let's just say this is an independent panel. Then you will finally get your voices heard if you say them in the right way. If you say them under the Crown and oath to the Crown as a Commonwealth citizen, then your views must be noted before the Crown, because you're not a witness before the Prime Minister. You are not a witness before the police. You are not a witness before your local mayor. You are a witness before God, so help you God. And to be a witness before God, you must be a witness before the Queen, who apparently is, and we're told, the vessel for God's power and God's law to flow through our Commonwealth law. That's how it works. If it doesn't work that way, we're living as corporate livestock under a private legislation that has actually no ability to enforce Crown law, which is where we get our admiralty and authoritative power. That's how it works. And anyone who tells you opposite is a fucking idiot and against the law and unlawful and part of the treason that they are perpetuating against us by being actually in breach of their own legislation, because these idiots finance ISIS in fucking Raqqa. Fuck off, you idiots. I, on the other hand, will not collaborate or cooperate with terrorists. End of. And as the Australian government, through OSCE, through the coalition, through NATO, has collaborated with ISIS, I cannot, in good conscience, not only under the Crown, but under our own fucking legislation, not collaborate and cooperate with the Australian government whilst it has not remedied that breach. That is the measure of the law. To order. To order. And that's how to bring order to the court. And if they want to try me on it in a public court, I will say nothing less the same. I will say nothing less the same. And if they want to put me in as a political prisoner, then I just won't fucking eat. And you watch. You watch what'll fucking happen. That's why they don't touch me, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I've got freedom in my country. No matter how fucking loud I am, no matter how many threats I've made, and no matter what hot intel I carry of the CIA. Because this is real. Sorry for yelling. Sometimes you've got to bring order to the court. Because unfortunately, the court doesn't listen to meek, mild, and little voices. It must listen to order. And that's our Australian courts, our Queensland courts and legislature, all state legislatures, and our Australian Attorney General under federal law, and our Prime Minister and every member of Cabinet. That's what has to happen. So that's it. Bring the kids back to Daddy. That's what has to happen, exactly. So that's what's happening here as part of my narrative. I am flexing very big at the moment on the international stage. I don't want to share too much of that yet because I want to save some surprises. If I manage to fulfill this next mission, this next op, and flex hard, I'm going to be in a very different position with the Australian government and international governments. So I don't expect you guys to, hold your breath, because I don't know when I can make these announcements, because it does edge on some very powerful decisions that need to be made. But rest assured, I am in those very sensitive negotiations at the moment at the world level. That's a fact. And anyone who wants to dispute and refute me for it just needs to be a little bit more thorough, a lot more thorough, with the drop box that I've already put forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. It's been great. I appreciate you coming for a bit of a ride with me. A place where I can actually just, vent, share a little bit of myself and what I'm up to. And I look forward to answering any questions that have come up in the feed. I'll try to be as thorough as possible. And I hope you guys are creating a great day. Peace.